Welcome back to this. Welcome back to the Study Prep Guys channel, everyone. Today we'll be looking at office administration or office documents on the topic of business for office administration. Welcome to the Study Prep Guys chill zone. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and without further ado, let's start. So let's look at the types of office documents in the business. We'll be looking at three main documents. We're looking at itineraries, business letters, and transactional documents. So first of all, let's start off on itineraries. What's itineraries exactly? So itineraries, as defined by the English dictionary, is a planned route or journey. An example of this is, or a quote is, his itinerary included an official visit to Canada. From the examples in the pictures, we could see that itinerary deals with traveling, but it's more than just traveling. It's about planning, having documents, having your passport, having your these documents in order to basically travel abroad. You need to schedule your appointments. When are you going to leave? And all of these other things. Are you comfortable traveling at this and that time? That's what itinerary are. An example of this is his visits is itinerary including an official visit to Canada, a travel document recording a route or journey. That's another way to put it. Or we will send you an itinerary. When people use the term itinerary, it refers to traveling documents and traveling documentation. So let's look at travel itineraries now. So an example of this is a schedule of events relating to a planned travel. For example, Hanoi, or you might want to spend 6 days, 5 days. A travel itinerary is a schedule of event relating to a planned travel. It generally includes destination to be visited at specific times and means of transportation to move between those distances. An itinerary is a detailed plan for a journey, especially a list of places to visit. Where do you want to go when you're traveling? When will we pick you up so that you could go back home to your home country? All of these things are included in the itinerary. The itinerary is basically all the documents that are needed in order for you to travel. So let's look at how do you prepare an itinerary exactly. Creating a travel itinerary. So the first step is to determine your destination and purpose, decide where you're going and why. If it's a There are different types of itinerary. There are business, there are first class, there's second class, there is the thing is domestic, where you travel with regular people. Is it a family trip, etc. All of these things. Research the best times to visit based on weather, events, or availability. Are you going within a certain holiday period? All of these things, you need to figure out that within the first step. The second step is set your travel dates and the amount of money that you're willing to spend. Your budget. Choose the duration of your trip. Establish a budget that covers transportation, accommodation, food, and activities. You also need to book transportation and accommodation. You need to source flights, train, buses, or rental cars. Choose between hotels. All of these things. Budget plan. Must see attractions where you're going to visit. Your daily activities. You must see attractions and experience, including dining options, leisure activities that you're allowed to do, feasibility and unexpected discoveries or relaxation. Where will you relax? All of those things. You need to choose a budget and your travel dates within the second step. The third step is to check important documents, like, for example, requirements for your passport, visa, of travel permits, and in order to restore travel restrictions, vaccinations or insurance needs. Create a detailed schedule outlining each day's plan, including times and locations. Consider travel time between destinations. Pack. You need to make sure within the third step, you need to make sure that you have the necessary documents in order to promote, or to make sure that for any damages caused, you have a coverage in case anything bad happens. You have a recovery document, for example. The fourth step is to prepare and make a checklist of essential items based on whether what are you gonna bring. Are you gonna bring essential documents? You need to bring essential doc. You need to make sure that you have you have the right equipments, and that's the final step. You just need to make sure that you have the right equipments. You have the right you have everything that you need in terms of clothing, in terms of fashion, and all of these other things. So that's how you create a travel itinerary. So now let's look into a business letter. So a business letter is a professional format letter that is sent by one company to another. It is a written communication used in formal business transactions, contain information about the business transaction, agreement, or in inquiry. All right, inquiry. Business letter can be used for professional. A business letter could come in a lot of forms, but a business letter is usually between persons who, or it could be in the form of employment if there's not a business letter for employment. But, however, a business letter must address a specific person or group, and it needs to have a clear and brief aim by persuasion, concluding with a specific goal. That's the main goal of a business letter. It needs to be formal. It does not need to be informal. That's the gist of it. So you need to have a clear and brief aim. You need to state why you're going to send this letter, state your point, state your view, and state why you're sending this letter. It needs to be to specificness. It cannot just be to anyone. A business letter must be business related, as the name suggests. So now let's look at a format of a business letter. So in the example, we have the heading, we have the inside address, and then you have the salutation, we have the body. Let me just give you an example. This is just an example. So for the signature, you sing sincerely yours. You state your name, you state your position. You need to think your salutation, and the body. You need to have the basic three body paragraph. You need to have a heading, and the heading usually includes the inside address. Usually includes the name of the person to whom you're sending it to, their street, and you could also include their address, the business name within the inside address. You could also include their business if you know their business. But in the case of dear Mister, if you know the person name, you could be very specific in this area with the salutation and actually include the person's full name. But if you do not know the person's name, you could utilize for whom it may concern or something like that. But you need to be very flexible within the salutation. However, do not go off straight when you're going to write your body, your introductory sentences within the letter. You need to be very brief. You need to state why you're going to send this letter. You do not need to state anything excessive. So that's the format of a business letter. Now let's look into an invoice. So an invoice is a list of goods sent or services provided with a statement of the sum for these, a bill. An invoice is basically a bill. If you purchase this and this and this and this amount of goods, you need to pay this amount. It's basically a sublimation of all your transactions that you have to pay for. So that's about it. And this is an example of an invoice that you would usually find at a store. You could find this anywhere. You usually find this at any business stop. This is an example of an invoice. So moving on, let's look into what we consider to be a receipt. So a receipt or a receipt is a written record that shows someone has received something such as goods, services, or a payment. Um, when you buy a shirt at the store, the cashier will give you a receipt. There's some examples of some instances. If you pay for a meal at a restaurant, you will receive a receipt showing that yes, this guy paid for it. However, the big question is, what is the function of a receipt? Why do they give us a receipt to begin with? So, a receipt is a written acknowledgement that something of value has been transferred from one party to another. It serves several purposes, including providing information to customers or donors, documenting purchasing, and assisting with internal accounting. Receipts are used to consumers from vendors and service providers used in business to business transaction or to provide with banking or financial market trades. It's basically a stamp that you bought this good, and it literally says that this guy made his purchase. It's a proof of your purchase. It's evidence, basically. Usually within the business world, if you make a transaction or you do a transaction, you will receive a receipt. Or if you're work, for example, if you are working with a business, or somebody send you to buy something, they may want to see a receipt to see how many money, how the amount of money that they paid and stuff like that. So that's everything for this video. Um, Now let's you will answer this question down in the comments below. So you could type in the comments below, but this is some questions for you. Now let's look into the fourth question. What is an itinerary and why is it used? Explain the key components of a travel itinerary. Um, what information is typically included in a business itinerary? Describe the steps involved in creating an itinerary. And then you could basically answer these questions in the comments below. So guys, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the Study Prep Guys channel and see you on a later video.